We're live?
Yes.
Awesome. So
Excellent.
that was good, right? That was good. Yeah. So welcome everyone to the very first episode of the Xbox International Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Joanna Dark, along with my three panel members. But before I introduce them, I definitely want to get through some housekeeping rules. Thank you for all who join us today. We want to make sure that we're not only just talking to you and kind of delivering the news, we also want to be able to interact with you in the chat. So if you do have a question on some of the topics that we're going to be covering today, just put Q in caps and then write your question. And then we'll have either, Silent Cipher or Sour Blow take a look so we can definitely kind of answer your questions. But again, my name is Mr. Joanna Dark, and let's go ahead and do a nice little round table. And I'm going to start over here with Silent Cipher, my twin. As you can see, the only thing that we're missing is that I have a hat on. But how you doing, man? How was your holiday? How was your New Year's? Did you get to kind of chip at that backlog? And what are you currently playing?
I am doing great. That being said, as far as the backlog, no. I haven't touched that backlog. I feel like it's been nonstop for the last couple weeks. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited that we're hanging out. We're talking games again. I feel like it's been too long for us to actually sit here and chat in person. Yeah, the holidays were good. The kids had a lot of fun with Christmas, and I tried to do as little as possible. It was ideal. It was the perfect vacation. So
You didn't hop into Forza? You didn't hop into Forza?
You know what? I hopped in Forza once or twice, only a little bit. I only added maybe, yes, on my burner account, which you will never know about. I probably added maybe another day's worth over the holidays onto the timer, so it's going up there. We're getting some good cars now. I'm ready to race you guys again, and hopefully servers are stable now.
Well, hopefully, Sour Blow learn how to drive, but we know that's not real. But let's speaking of Sour Blow, how are you, man? Welcome back. Happy New Year. How was your holidays? How was your New Year? What did you play? What are you currently playing at the moment?
I'm doing great. Thank you, everyone here in the chat. I myself, I finished Red Dead Redemption 2. I started Halo, of course. I played a lot of Halo. I played The Gunk. And I finished also Dante Inferno. And I accomplished something very special through the holiday. I got my wife to play. We're playing currently It Takes Two. And I got her playing Unravel, I think it's called.
Yeah, Unravel by EA.
So it's pretty nice. But we're having a lot of arguments because it's like her first game ever. She never have played anything, not even solitary. So it's like,
oh, wow.
You can imagine, the struggle.
Well, you know what's a good game to kind of make sure that she knows how to game? Dark Souls.
You want her to kill me?
No.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Shoot.
That's kind of what I went through in the holiday. Oh, and I play a little bit of Halo Reach with my 5-year-old son.
Oh, nice. Are you guys playing like the co-op campaign or just
Just the co-op. Sometimes I leave him by himself and he plays. Okay. Yeah, he's a fast learner actually.
Well, yeah, I know because he helped us in Halo Infinite one time, and you trying to take credit.
But yeah. That's practically what I've been playing.
Nice. I see that Caitlin is a fan of your masks there, Silent Cipher.
Yeah, I was just telling her, I think I've got a little bit of an addiction when it comes to the Halloween side of things. I don't know. I'm a sucker for a good mask. And I obviously, small plug, but like Trick or Treat Studios does phenomenal masks online. If you're ever looking to buy one, that place is rad. They've got all sorts of cool stuff. And yeah, I think no problem. I think my wife would like to ban me from using that site because I take advantage of it a couple times a year. It's awesome.
I think we all have our kind of our little addictions to things. And, I can't stay off the merch store every time something's coming in. Like, what did you buy? I'm like,
Right.
just a shirt I needed, just a hat. She was like, how many more hats do you need? I need a lot more because, there's 7 days a week. So I definitely need a hat for every day. But without further ado, Crazy Lou, what's up, man? I'm glad that you were able to come today. I know you've been feeling under the weather, but I'm happy that you're here, of course. I know you wouldn't miss episode 1. So tell me, how was your, holidays? How was your New Year? What games did you get to play? And what are you currently playing?
Well, my holidays have been good though. I mean, I had a great holiday. I got to beat Halo. I got to beat Far Cry 6. After that, I went to play. I moved to PlayStation. I was like, what am I gonna play? So I just moved to PlayStation, and I started playing The Last of Us 2. And also I'm playing a new game from Bitmap, which is called Battle Axe, which is not new though. It came out, I think that it was last year. But I was always willing to try, and I'm just trying it right now, and I'm gonna beat it pretty soon because I got the trick to it. And I also got Miss Crazy to come play Overcooked. We've been playing Overcooked last weekend. We had loads of fun with Overcooked.
Oh, Overcooked!
Really
I was
did.
playing that with my kids.
Yeah, we were playing that game, and I kept on pushing her off the kitchen. She almost threw the controller at me because I was being a pushover, doing everything. Yeah, I was trying to be fast.
You should play It Takes Two with her. Right?
I know we have installed it, and because that day I thought I had it installed. I don't know why I deleted it, but I reinstalled it. So yeah, we were gonna do it this weekend, but frankly, on Saturday I went to go get tested, got COVID. Just right now today, finally got my voice back. Finally, a little bit of my voice. It's been a tough week. I've been battling this COVID since Saturday till today. So yeah, I came here in episode 1, and let me say hello, chat. What's up? Hey, Risky.
That says
Hey,
you sound
everybody.
like Vincent Price.
Vincent Price on Twitter.
Nice.
Man. But yeah, I'm very happy to be here, and yeah, I'm gonna chill with you guys till the end. Let's go. We're gonna have fun today. I'll do my best, but we'll have fun.
Yeah, no. A recommendation for you and Mrs. Crazy. Have her play Elden Ring.
I will. Don't worry. I'm not like Sarah Blow who puts in there. I'm gonna show her how to play games. She's like, come here, learn how to play Mortal
I was
Kombat.
gonna be like, Salvo, look, Mrs. Crazy beat Sekiro in one city.
Sekiro. Oh man.
I don't know if I'll push my wife that much, but I'll try to push her there.
Yeah, no. Had a good holiday. Had family come over. Like many, just kind of sit back and relax. Did I get through my backlog? Sure. I finally beat Halo, and I continued to play Halo. Making sure I got all the Spartan logs because I definitely wanted to hear all those cool audio logs to get more of the lore. I then jumped into the gunk in between because I knew I was going to jump into like probably 10 games as I do, and I play like kind of dart where I just kind of say, hey, let's see what sticks. So got to the gunk. And then I jumped in between, like I told you guys before, I was playing Disco Elysium. I don't know if everyone's played it, but it's a really good game. It's a game that, in a sense, it also makes me feel like I was a little bit stupid because it really goes deep into a lot of stuff and you're internalizing with yourself. But it's a really good game, and it's one that I'm currently playing. But I took a break because I was into kind of like this zombie mode, so I jumped into Dying Light, and I played Dying Light nonstop, unhealthy. Because I'm so hyped for Dying Light 2, which is one of our topics in the news right now, coming up. And after that, I kind of went in between. I said, hey, you know what? Let me jump into the Days Gone. And after that, I went from Days Gone to Fallout 4. I don't know why. And finally, because I'm excited for February, for some of the games coming out, I finally am playing Horizon Zero Dawn for the 8th time. But I think right now, like many times it happens when we have so many games, it's finally sticking, meaning that the story is kind of sinking in and I'm enjoying my time in the world, and I'm getting through. I'm still up to the parts that I've played prior to that, but I'm definitely excited as I'm playing this. And hopefully, like I said, this will keep me going into Dying Light 2, which is one of the games that I'm really anticipating to play, to kind of see what's the evolution from the first one. But besides that, yeah, that's it. My backlog keeps growing because I keep buying games that I shouldn't be buying. So it's. I think we all have that problem at one time, that our backlogs just keep growing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Too
Definitely.
many good deals during the holidays, especially.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we definitely wanted to promise for many of our viewers that came back to see us is that today's not going to be XBI Snyder Cut. We're going to make sure, we don't like to be, a 4-hour experience, even though we hope to be one day that we can talk to you for 4 hours and don't fall asleep. So I definitely want to get into some of the quick gaming news before we kind of get into some of those beefy topics. And the cool thing is, I know we came back a little bit later than most of, the other amazing podcasts out there, but it seems that, the new year just keeps on giving, and we got some news that's been trickling down just every other day. And the first one, of course, came today, unfortunately. Stalker 2 got delayed. I was praying. Last night I was, doing some little dance here and there and kind of like, praying to baby Jesus or whoever and saying, I hope it doesn't happen as a fan. And here's what they said. They said, Stalkers, we have made a decision to postpone the release of Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, to December 8th, 2022. These additional 7 months of development are needed to fulfill our vision and achieve the desired state of the game. Stalker 2 is the biggest project in history for GSC, and it requires thorough testing and polishing. We are convinced that development should take as long as necessary, especially in the case of such a project. This decision is not an easy one, but we are doing the best possible to deliver the game that can live up to the expectations. So that was from GSC, the developer.
Now I have a question though. Why again on my birthday? I mean, they keep postponing all these great games on my birthday. What is it with that date though?
You know what, Crazy
Why
Lou?
my
You need to
birthday
get a new
again?
You need to get a new birthday, man.
Yeah, I think I have to though.
It's unfortunate that this happened. I'm a huge fan of the original, but I believe that, especially with a lot of things going on right now in the world, they can take their time. There's so many games that are coming down the pipeline, and I'd rather have the experience that they promised. And who knows? It can be so many different things right now, but hopefully December 8th is finally the day. But yeah, take all the time they need. We definitely don't want an unfinished game, because you know what happens. It's damn if you do, damn if you don't. But what about you? I want to get your thoughts. How excited were you on Stalker 2? Let's go with Silent Cypher.
I was really excited. I didn't get into the first game super early. I waited for a few years on it, and then once I got into it, like I understood what the hype was for, and I started to get it. Like, I don't think at the time my computer could even handle the first game.
Neither can I. I used to run it at 24 frames per second.
Yeah. No, those were the dark times for our gaming. But yeah, no, I've been very excited for this one to come out ever since they first announced it, because I felt like it was just so far out there. I never expected we were going to get a sequel for that game.
Yeah, it was a very emergent game for its time.
It was, yeah, and it had a great horror type of vibe to it too, with those locations and stuff, with the rad locations. I think the real shame about this whole situation is this has been a couple times now that it's been delayed, and it's really hard as a gamer to look at this and not think, okay, there must be something really wrong with what's going on if they're having to push it this far back. Like, if it were a couple months or something, that's one thing. That's happened a couple times. But to have this significant of a pushback makes me worry about some of the foundation structure of the game. And it could be nothing. It could be they just want to ensure they've got that extra polish on it, just like what Halo did there for the last few months. But I get nervous after watching something like Cyberpunk come out, and seeing all of the turbulence that game hit. I'm afraid that we're going into a similar situation, and I hope not. But I've got that nagging suspicion, I
mean, at least in this sense, they're saying 7 months. And who knows? Can it be a delay? I mean, I know the people were saying that the first time it was because a lot of the tools for the Unreal Engine 5, which this game was going to be the very first game on Unreal 5, wasn't ready.
Very fresh. Yeah.
And I'm wondering, could that also be another thing? How what version of that engine do they have, and maybe are there some assets that they maybe want to incorporate. Again, we don't know. And I try to take things like this not as negative. I get it. Sometimes we can definitely see the tea leaves, but like I said before, if they release Stalker, then everyone else says it's a bad game. And Cyberpunk is a prime example. But honestly, I love Cyberpunk. Besides everything behind it, it was a great game. Now, is it one that didn't deliver on some of those things? Sure. But look at Halo. I believe Stalker is going to come out, and people who have been waiting for this game is going to be great. It's something to kind of maybe palate cleanse while we're still deep into Starfield. But let me go to Sourblow. Sourblow, what do you think about this?
Oh man. Well, crazy that besides Starfield, this was like my biggest game. Like after Starfield, this was the game I was actually waiting to play, and it fit perfectly like in the calendar. So am I upset? Yes, because it's delayed, and it's delayed to a date that by the day it releases, I think I'm probably going to still be playing Starfield. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to the game. So that's kind of a bummer. But at the end of the day, I kind of agree with you. Like, it's just delay it as long as you need to in order to bring us the best product you can. Because what we want is a fluid game, a good game, a game that don't have I wouldn't say any bugs, but the least bugs it have, the better it is to give us the best experience. That's what we want from a game.
Yeah, of course. But no game is perfect. But as long as we get something that's workable, that we can get into, and it can basically deliver on what we've seen, definitely great. I mean, another thing we forgot is that most likely they saw and they said, "Crazy Lou's birthday. Let's get this game out of here."
Yeah.
Nah, but anyway, Crazy Lou, what's up, man? Tell us, what do you think? What do you think about this? And also to kind of add, I saw what is it? Sean Ham said, what do you think as well, Crazy Lou? What game could maybe replace the loss of Stalker?
Wow, that's gonna be a tough one though. When was Stalker gonna come out? Was it in April though? Was it?
Yeah, April.
April, yeah. I don't know what game is gonna come out in April though, because there's so many games. I'm so stuck in February about all those games. It's like I remember I was like, there's gotta be like 25 games in February. And if February has 28 days, there's 25 games that are coming out. But how do I feel about the Stalker? I always say this though. If I want the games to be good. And then gotta delay them. Take your time, finish them up, and to deliver good product. I don't want to play a game like what happened to me once in Witcher 3, that I went over. I did not do a side mission I had to do first, and I went and did 100,000 side missions later, which was like 13 hours in game, one night of game, 13 hours of gaming. And the next day when I wake up, I try to load up, there was an error. And when that error came out, I was so mad. I had to go like 30 hours back behind that to continue the game. So I rather, like I always said, if they need to take their time to complete it, yes, go ahead, guys. Take your time, take it. I mean, we don't want no Cyberpunk. We don't want no game errors. We want the game to be good. And we don't want the game without any issues. And of course, like you said, I know Cyberpunk is good because CD Projekt Red does great games. But the game had a lot of issues, though. And that's something that we don't want for any other game to happen, which is true.
One thing that I do want to throw in with that actually matches up with what Dark was saying earlier. It is a good point. Like if I'm being the positive Cypher right now and not being the negative guy, it is beneficial in the fact that we are going to see more matured technology by the time that comes out. Like maybe they're getting a different flight of that new UE5. And so potentially you're going to see better ray tracing implementation. You're going to see things like that, or maybe a more stable frame rate. So, it's not all doom and gloom, but maybe we'll end up seeing actually some good advancements in the process.
Yeah, no, I think also, Crazy Lou made some points about so many games that we're going to be playing. Risket was talking about too. Evil Dead. That's one of my Game of the Year contenders. Right there, hands down.
Yeah,
that's the game of February. Evil Dead, with the GOAT Bruce Campbell. But I don't like I said before we move on to the next thing is that there's a lot of games coming out, and sometimes yes, people argue, should, publishers, developers give dates to games? There's a lot of other politics in the background that sometimes you just have to do. But the thing is, at the end of the day, if you deliver on what you promise, I think that's what matters the most. And sometimes you got to take that heat. And then what happens? You keep your head down and you release a product that after that, all that hate just goes away. And you know what? People are enjoying, the experience that you provided them.
I gotta tell you something though, which is true though. I mean, people need to understand something. We are still in a pandemic. It's still hard for them to keep up with the games. I mean, it's not the same as you working next to the other person as what they usually do. Right now, what they do is they grab the data and they send it up in the cloud for the other one to grab, pull, and fix whatever needs to be fixed because of this whole COVID situation, guys. So remember that. That's why they're taking so long to make these games. But like I said, take your time, finish them up, and deliver your best. Because really, I want from what we've seen. I mean, Sour Blow's hyped. I'm hyped because I was like, "Whoa, this game looks incredible." All of us are hyped, but I don't want it to be all beautiful and then something just comes up on your screen and just or it crashes or it does something. I don't want that. I'd rather them to have it fixed 100%.
Cool. Now to some light news, some good news. Yeah, IO Interactive, of course, makers of Hitman, announced that their Hitman 3 is going to get year 2 content. Did anyone here, play Hitman 3 at all, or have played any of the Hitman? Yes. Okay. Amazing, isn't it?
100%. Oh yeah.
I'm waiting for a collection edition 1 through 3, so I can play them kind of like what I did with Mafia.
Okay, so you want them bundled in?
Yes, that's what I'm waiting for.
But they've had some great sales when you can get them, literally dirt cheap. Hitman 3. I used to be a big fan of Hitman, and for some odd reason, when the first one came, I guess like many, I didn't like the format where they kind of gave it to you in little small bits, and I just said, cool. And then one day I just said, you know what? I love Hitman. Let me try I got it through, I think it was Games with Gold. They gave it to us. And I literally started the first season and I was just like, this is amazing. I literally did a level where I was, literally a model. And then all of a sudden I kill a man with a banana peel. I was like, that's a winner right there for me.
Well, let me ask you real quick before we jump into the content. Sure. How does it work? How does it work?
So if you purchase Hitman 3, and they did this starting with Hitman 2, you literally can purchase the games and then they run in the actual Hitman 3 engine. So you're getting the enhanced version of the most up-to-date version of their, I think it's called the ICE engine or something like that they call it.
Yes.
And so now you're getting all those beautiful bells and whistles that I think they added ray tracing and all that, and it looks phenomenal. So I bought Hitman 3 and I literally then imported, I guess it just knows that you have the other ones, and then within the Hitman 3 client, you can play all the other games. And
but when you say the other games, you mean 1 and 2?
Yep, correct. With the enhancement that 3 has.
Okay, and these what are they called? Series? No, well.
It's Hitman. It's called the trilogy is called the World of Assassination trilogy. And that's kind of the story arc that you're going for. It's kind of like a soft reboot. It was really great, and even in Hitman 3, knowing that they are going to do James Bond, I was hyped. I'm not going to ruin it for anyone here who hasn't played it, but let's just say there were elements towards the end of Hitman 3 that I was like, wow, I cannot wait to see their vision of, James Bond. But in going with this year 2 announcement, they announced that number 1, they hit 50 million players, which is really nice for this game. I mean, this game came out early in the year in January. So it's great to see that, there's still people playing. On top of that, their year 2 is literally around the corner. It starts on the 20th. And this is going to kind of go for 12 months after that. They're going to give you new maps, new storylines, and some new modes. One of those things they're going to add is that they're going to add ray tracing, which is going to be enhanced on the PC with, so that's pretty cool. They're also going to add variable rate shading, which is really good as well. So for people that can actually have, devices that can support that, they're going to add some of those nice enhancements. And the cool thing is, for people that have VR, they're finally adding VR support to the PC side. It was currently exclusive to the PSVR, but it's coming to PC. and they're going to also have something called Elusive Targets. And basically, what it says here, and I'm taking this from their webpage, is that it's a new way to play Elusive Targets. Arrives in Hitman 3, a brand new game mode that we're calling the Elusive Target Arcade. Prepare to take on the ultimate Elusive Target challenge in a change to the established formula in this fan favorite game mode. All Elusive Target Arcade content will be permanent addition to the game. And basically, they haven't said much because I think they're going to have like an announcement where they're going to literally talk about these modes. So yeah, Silent Cypher, since you're the only other one that played it, what do you think about this? Did you like Hitman? Are you excited that some new content to maybe jump back into this game?
I loved that game so much. My goodness, I can't count how many hours I ended up spending on that game. Between 1, 2, and 3, it just, obviously they've got a good amount of maps, but I always found myself going back to the same places again and again. Like the Burj Khalifa in number 3 is just so good. But yeah, I'd be very curious as to what additions they're adding to this, because obviously, like, they had the Elusive Targets previously. They had awesome people in it that they added into the game in the process. They had the whole promotional thing at one point with, goodness, what was it? It was some of the Hollywood actors and stuff.
Yes. And I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they had those, and I'd be very curious as to this.
Sean Bean was one of them, right? Yes, Sean Bean was at one point, yeah.
They had him. They had Gary Cole from Office Space. They had all sorts of folks. I'd be curious though, because you said Elusive Target Arcade.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's a more like less, I guess more like, I would say not as strict within the rules of Hitman and more kind of, I guess, in the best way, arcadey or more, easier to kind of just mess around.
I wonder if potentially one of the things, because I know one of the issues I had is, like, we get busy. It's hard to get on these games all the time. And one of the loops that they were trying to do with the Elusive Targets was to draw you in to come in and try and take out that target in a set time, right?
Correct.
So I wonder if maybe the arcade is recycling some of those and doing it on a regular cadence. So that way you actually have the opportunity to go back and do those ones. Because I've missed a lot over the time, and some of them looked really cool, but just, sometimes you're out of town, or sometimes the work week's busy and you just can't get to it. So I'm hoping that maybe that's what it is just like a version where you can actually go back in and do those ones later.
It's one of those games where no matter, it allows you to basically, it's a sandbox, and there's no wrong way. I mean, there were times that I completed some missions and I didn't even know half of the things that I did. And it was just like things that randomly that I was just running away because I got caught, and all of a sudden, oh, my bad, I got them. And I'm telling you, Sour Blow, and Crazy Glue, you haven't played it, play Hitman. Hitman is amazing. And what's great is that each level can be replayed so many times, and I remember playing the first level just to make sure that I got all the little things. So if you're an achievement hunter or someone that likes doing things and seeing the outcomes and kind of tracking that, it's for every type of player. What do you think about this? You think maybe some of this content and maybe seeing some is gonna Crazy Luke convinces you to jump into the world of assassinations?
I always wanted to play Mafia 3.
Okay.
I mean, all the Mafias. I always wanted to sit down and play it. Just every time.
Mafia or Hitman?
I'm like Mafia. Oh my god, Hitman. We're talking about Mafia in the chat. Sorry, guys. Hitman 3, yeah.
You take out the Mafia in Hitman, but you were right, I think. Yeah, you can take out the Mafia.
That's true. But yeah, I always wanted to play the Hitman games. I mean, I always wanted to sit down one day and say, let me just sit here and play it. I've heard about them. People have talked to me about them. I tried it once, but just didn't get into it. But maybe one day I will sit down and play it. So yeah, let's cross our fingers and see if I can do it.
Cool. What about you, Sablo? You think we've convinced you to maybe take that plunge?
No, again, I mean, I got lots to play right now, so I'm gonna keep waiting for the bundle. But real quick, I'm gonna reframe the question that I actually had is, right now, you said they're gonna release year 2?
Yeah, on the 20th of January.
Okay, my question is, you buy Hitman 3, you gotta buy year 2, or is it something?
This is I think it's free content, or if you have the pass, that I'm not sure. That's what they said, but I'm guessing the VR stuff is free. The ray tracing is free, most likely the elusive targets are not behind a paywall. So this content should be coming because they would have said, hey, either they would have announced like a Ultimate Game of the Year edition, or most likely said, hey, this is going to be paid content. But to my, from everything I bought the game, and I got all the content. They did have season passes that have just like extra things here and there, but not part of the elusive target things. But I think some of this might just be free content that they're bringing to the game to kind of, put it in the front mind of people right now in 2022 to continue playing the game.
Okay. So to expound on that, so they actually had like a 7 Deadly Sins event, I think it was. And that was a pay-in thing. You go into it, you got content for all those different sins, and you had to go in and do those different missions and stuff. As far as the seasons go, the broad core of the offerings that they have on there, like the elusive targets, all the different suits and stuff you can get for achieving different things, all that stuff is on the free side. So, they always do provide more premium content, but they also give you a way to jump in if you just already bought the game and you've got the core experience.
Cool. So before we jump into the next news, I want to just give a shout out to everyone who's joining us. I see Big Mad Mo in the actual chat. The Dutch came in. Hello, Wandering Dutch. Risk it for the biscuit. Thank you as well for coming. I see other people. Juan Miguel. Is there. We have Sean Ham in there. Back from the Dead One is here. Yes. So thank you for everyone so far that's been tuning in. And let's move on to the next news. And again, this might be another sad news, or it may not, or maybe people have been overreacting, but Dying Light 2. So that was the flavor of the week on Twitter, where unfortunately the developers of Dying Light came out with this cool little chart that they decided to say, hey, my game is 500 hours. Ooh. And it was just, they opened the floodgates where, we kind of had conversations. And it's funny because usually the conversation around time and length of a game is usually kind of put in correlation to, oh, well, if you're charging me $30 for 4 hours, then I don't think that game is worth, X amount of money. Or if it's $60 and the game is only 3 hours. But this time it was like, oh, well, 500 hours is too long. And it wasn't a good way to come out in messaging, where I think they just wanted to show that the game is probably bigger than the original. So then they came out and kind of broke it down Barney style, of how the game breaks down. And I think it was 20 hours is to complete the campaign, meaning you just go through it and you go through that golden path, kind of going through the story beats. And now, if you wanted to do some of the side missions where, you're saving, a little puppy from the tree from a zombie, that's 80 hours along with the campaign, which is pretty nice. Now, if you want to be, Superman and go ahead and kind of, puff your chest and say, hey, I completed, then in order to complete Dying Light completely, meaning with all the endings and I guess all the playthroughs, it would be approximately about 500 hours. The cool thing is we only have to play for 20 hours to see whatever ending we want. So I don't think it's something bad. But I guess my conversation is, or the question to the panel is, what do you think? Are games getting too long? Do you think that this is overblown? Or my second part of this question is, if a game does have so many hours, right? Do you want at least more, I guess, premium content when it comes to more better side missions? So one of the things that I love about The Witcher, I put in 280 hours on the PS4, about 60 hours on the Switch, another 100 on the Xbox, and then I put another about, give or take 100 and something on the PC. But one of the things I can say about The Witcher is that all the side missions were amazing, most of them, because they gave me lore about the world. I got to help people. I got to learn other different things about, monsters. Do you think that when a game offers you things like The Witcher, that getting 500 hours of that type of content is a bad thing? And I'm going to throw it over to Crazy Lou.
No, it's not a bad. For me, it's not a bad thing because I'm going to tell you something though. If you sit and play an MMO, you're going to spend more time on an MMO than a single player like that, which is true. I mean, look at. You remember when Xbox put the huge library thing where you go into it and see the history of the games you played? For me, the
Paw Patrol was the most played for me on 2019.
Oh, 2019. No, but for me, the most played game was Destiny, and which I put 31 days into it, which was 721 hours. So yeah, an MMO, you can put that. I mean, I have a friend who has 261 days already in Destiny 2, which I was looking at his profile the other day. I was like, let me see how many days he has in Destiny, because that's all he plays, Destiny 2, and he has, I don't know, I don't even know how many hours is that, but that's a lot. That's a bunch of hours. So yeah, I mean, if I always say this though, if it's gonna be a long game, um, it has to be with good content for me to keep playing it. Because if you want to make it long, please give me good content. Please make things that I could enjoy, just things that are not too much repetitive. Because that's something that I really don't like. That sometimes these long games have things that are way too much repetitive, and it gets boring along the way. But yeah, if it's gonna have good content, then yeah, I'll go the 500 hours. I mean, I beat the heck out of the first one. I did all the side missions. I did everything in that Dying Light. So when I heard it was 500 hours, I was like, these guys do a pretty good game. So I can't imagine 500 hours how it's gonna be. It's gonna be loads of fun.
Yeah, in the 2 weeks that I played Dying Light, I looked at
Yeah.
my clock on Switch, and it was I was at 80 hours. And even with the
Yeah.
following DLC, I was still going at it on some of those missions because I just wanted to just drive around and take out zombies.
Yeah.
Everything. So I'm
I
gonna
mean,
head over. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's a game that you get addicted to, because I mean, I'm gonna say something. The first one I played, and I remember I played everything. I did all the side missions. I did everything I had to do on it. So I did it, and I actually really enjoyed it. I did everything. So if I can imagine how this one's gonna be, this is gonna be, if it's 500 hours, it's gonna be freaking awesome. That's all I know. It's gonna be meant fun.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I'm interested in this game, so right before I go to Salblo, is the fact that I want to see if they keep their promise on when they first showed us the trailer. When you make some of those decisions, the consequences of decisions. So different from what we saw with Dying Light 1, you're going to be able to make these decisions at key moments in the game, and depending on the decisions you make, it's going to change the world and some of the missions that you, I guess, come to you. So if it's that case, I definitely want to come back into this world. And like every other game, there's sometimes that kind of like that comfort food game that I just want to dive in. Sometimes I'm in a long meeting and I just want to pop something in there, and they say, you know what, let me put out some missions. Somebody needs some condensed milk, let me go get that person some condensed milk. Somebody needs some some Chardonnay, sure, let me go get you some Chardonnay while I kill some zombies. But so Sour Blow, what do you think about this? Is this a controversy, or this just overblown?
Well, completely overblown to me. I mean, you play any type of game that you really enjoy, and once you invest time, by the time you look at your time play, you definitely go past the 100 hours easily. And the thing is, if these developers took their time to create this content where you have to last 500 hours in order to completely complete the game, everything, then we should actually appreciate that they're doing that. And it's something that is, at the end of the day, is optional. The story is 20 hours. So you can, if you buy the game, you're just interested in the story, you just play the story. While you're playing the story, if you're interested in some other side missions, then you can do some of them. You can complete all of them, and that will be like 80 hours. And then if you want to keep going on the world, you want to immerse yourself, then go ahead and do it. It's optional. It's like, for example, Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves, I have over 700 hours playing Sea of Thieves. And something that I love about Sea of Thieves is that you go in and you create your own story. Since, like Joanna said, something pretty interesting about this Dying Light 2 is that the decisions you make, they're going to have different consequences. And if these consequences really play into the game and it keeps evolving as it goes, then this is going to create so much more content that it's going to have you invested in this world. And by the time you keep completing this world, like completing missions and things like that, like, I mean, you might have 200 hours, 300 hours invested, and you don't have to invest all the 500 hours. But I just think I appreciate that they took their time to make this content. Now, let's wait till the game comes out. Let's see what type of content they have, because at the end of the day, I could just be talking BS and it could be a bunch of fillers. But let's not critique without even trying the game. Why are we mad that they created this content for us and we haven't even tried it yet? It's insane.
I've been waiting for Dying Light, and when I heard that, I was like, okay, cool. That just means that I want to see what the content is. And I think Dutch brought a point in the chat. He says it all depends on the quality of the 500 hours.
Yep.
If 20 to 30 hours is great, and then the 480 to 470 of it is just fetch quest, then it's not great. I mean, I played the Tail series, and for years, guess what Tail does? Hey, go save this little monkey from a tree so you can get a little, walnut. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I just keep going in there, fight, I'll level up. And then some of those fetch quests, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to go and get this little, go get this so you can get a dress. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to buy the DLC and just get some of the cool gear that's there already. But yeah, it's optional. I mean, at the end of the day, we all play games that we love over and over. If we look at some, like Lou brought a good thing, a good point. When you look at your Xbox museum.
Yeah.
NBA 2K, I thought it was something else. NBA 2K12 was my most played game. Yep. Over the course of my Xbox history. I was like, wow, I didn't know I put that much into basketball, and again, it comes down to preference and stuff like that, and you don't have to do it. Nobody's telling you, hey, when you buy this game, you have to pay for $500. I mean, $500. You have to play for 500 hours. At that point, I'd be like, I'm good. I'll come back to it when the director's cut, and I don't have to pay, play for 500 hours. But anyway, besides that, let's now move on to, of course, which I've been waiting for, some of the main topics of the show. And I don't know if everyone's heard this week, but Paul Tassi of Forbes put out a nice article saying that the Xbox Series X and S consoles are the fastest selling Xbox consoles this generation, despite the supply constraints. In his article, he kind of points out the fact that, and this is on record from the interview that happened with Phil Spencer in the New York Times, which I would definitely recommend listening to. The podcast is called Sway. Phil Spencer brings up some good points about a lot of questions that he was asked. But in this one, it says supply is actually as big as ever it's been. It's the demand. It's that demand is exceeding the supply for all of us. At this point, we've sold more this generation of Xboxes, which is the Xbox Series X and S, than we have of any previous generation. So my thing is, I don't want to focus on estimates or numbers. I want to focus more on why do you think this generation so far, compared to other generations like the Xbox One, why is the Xbox so far being so successful when it comes to their Series X and S consoles? And let's start with Silent Cypher.
All right, so right off the bat, it goes with Series X or Series S, where it's got the price point that it does. That $299 is very much an impulse buy, especially in times right now where it's hard to get a console as it is. It made a lot of sense for them to hedge that bet on the S series consoles. I forget where the data was for it, if it came directly from Xbox. I think they had mentioned that for basically every Series X that you make, you can get 2 Series S in the process. Correct. And so they hedged their bet. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so, they hedged the bet on saying, okay, yes, we could make a bunch of Series X, and that'd be great. But we could make way more Series S, and we could get people into the ecosystem and actually get them involved and get them started. And I feel like that was a really smart idea, because once you get the Series S and you see what it can do, you're like, well, what if I throw one of these Series X onto the big screen, onto the 4K, and I see what this beast can do as well. So it feels like it's a really good foot in the door. It's like the handshake at the door saying, oh, hey, here's our experience. Now you can try all these other things as well. And I think the $299 price point was a smart thing from the very beginning. When Sony announced that they were going to have a discless version and it was going to be the same specs, I respect that, and that's a good call. But in the current situation, which none of us could have really guesstimated that this was going to continue as long as it was with the pandemic. And what's that?
Except Kojima, he predicts.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But it's like without any foresight as to what we were going into and what we've been in for the last couple of years now, it was the smartest move I think that they could have made. Honestly, that $2.99 price point, especially for people who were out of jobs and just wanted to keep the kids busy or wanted to keep themselves busy while they were looking for jobs or while they were at home trying to be safe, it just made sense. And I think that's also where they benefited a lot with the xCloud and streaming side of things, is because you can get people involved in your ecosystem for next to nothing. And they can pay for the Game Pass, and they can play and play and play. It's just it's a really good move, especially for the situation currently. Had we not had a pandemic, who knows if it would have played the same way? Who knows how it would have played out? But I think that they made the better choice as far as putting a system out there that's almost as effective as the bigger brother, but also more approachable by the general mass.
Yeah. Crazy Lou, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
Hold on. Let me tell you this though. What I've seen happen with this Xbox, right? I'm pretty amazed though. I mean, I have this is a story from me personally. I have friends that they were big PlayStation guys. And so I started talking to them about Xbox. Like, you got to try this. You have this, you have that. You got to go sit here and you got to play this. So he decided, like, okay, let me go buy this Xbox. And what they started with an Xbox Series S. All of them did, which is the funny part of the story, though. All of them. I mean, you have 5 friends here that they all bought the Series S to try it out. I'm not kidding you. In a week, they switched it to an X. Right away. All of them. Same week. All of them in 1 week, they were like, we're going to go get an X. We don't want the S anymore. We're going to get an X. I want to see what the X can do. Which is something incredible. How they told me their story. I mean, I was like, what? I was like, you guys started with an S. You guys didn't even last a week. I was like, oh, yeah, like probably 5 days the most. And we jumped into the X. Series X. I was like, what? I mean, I was pretty amazed on that. And that is the Xbox is selling. Yes, it's gonna sell because I mean, what Brian said, he said that price, $300 price, is a great price for a console, especially for somebody who is looking for something to start with to begin with. That's actually a good thing because I mean, look at my friends. My friends, they came from PlayStation. They bought a $300 console just to try it out, see how it goes. They didn't like it. Well, they're gonna say, okay, it cost me $300, but I got games here. So when they started using it, and they saw how good it looked in an S, they said, I'm gonna upgrade to an X to see how this looks on an X. And when they did, they dropped they opened their mouths like, oh my God, there's a big difference. And it's something and that's another thing though. I did tell people this though, which is actually a true thing. If you're gonna play like also competitive, right? You're going to play competitive against people. Pretty much, you're just going to play shooters or anything. You play on monitors. Just buy a Series S and use it for monitor gaming. That's it. Plug it in. You got your 120. You got everything on there. And you go over there and compete because you don't care about graphics. Now, if you're more on the graphics side because you want to see how it looks, get a Series X. So, yeah, they're going to keep on selling and they're going to keep on going because not only that, they got Game Pass. We get great offers, which each time we get great offers every month. I mean, look at this month. We're just sitting here like January. I mean, yeah, I even had a schedule on the games I wanted to play. And all of a sudden, like, when was it? Last week, was it? How many days ago was it? 2-3 days ago? Or was it this week or last week?
With what?
The announcement of Rainbow Six. It was last week,
Oh,
right?
it was last week. Last week.
All of a sudden comes Game Pass.
Like the time's blending.
Yeah, boom. I've been out for 5 days, with the COVID thing. So
yeah, you're talking about mafias and all this stuff. Yeah,
I've been but yeah, all of a sudden they come, boom, Rainbow Six Extraction. Like, what? The 20th of January. I was like, okay, now we have something to play in January. All right. Also with Mass Effect, they came up with Mass Effect. What was it? 2 weeks ago too? The trilogy.
Yeah, it came to Game Pass. So you got that as well.
You got that as well, and so yeah, they're gonna keep on selling because if they keep on doing this offering and keep making the service great, people are gonna keep buying that console.
Yep.
They will. It's gonna be hotcakes all the way.
Nice. Sour blow. So what do you think about this? Microsoft Xbox Series X and S, fastest selling console this generation. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I told Crazy a long time ago. I saw a comment, and I told him Xbox might even outsell. I told him it has a chance to outsell the competition, and now that Wandering Dutch is here, real quick, mixing his show, because I saw his show today, and they were talking about PC players and how they cheat and everything and all that, how it's easier, to find cheaters in the PC market or the advantages they have. I'm going to mix in how I got into the Xbox ecosystem real quick to kind of explain
So you cheated.
the strategy. No, not that I cheated.
Yes.
I used to play in PC. And I used to play a lot of MMOs, and some of my friends told me, "Yo, you should play Sea of Thieves." And I was like, I don't know if I should buy that game. Like it,
Perfect game for cheaters.
I didn't feel like buying it. But then they told me, "Oh, it's on Game Pass, and you can try it. It's for $1 for the first month." So I hopped into it. I started playing it, and then I started playing with them. Had lots of fun, but eventually they started not wanting to play with me because they said, "Listen, we can't play with you because we're playing in consoles, and these PC players, they're just like the way they play, the way they move. It's not even fair."
Yeah, it's incredible because I played it on PC, and I tell you, I moved the character a lot more faster with the controller.
Yeah.
I can shoot faster, I can hit the sword faster. It's way faster.
It's the movement, the way you move in there with PC. It's not even fair. But anyway, that got me into getting the Xbox One S from my brother, which he had it. He owed me some money, so we kind of made a deal there. So when I started playing it, me coming from PC, I couldn't do the 30 frames per second. And then this console comes out. It's only $300. I was like, why not? So when I tried it, I fell in love with it, and I see that a lot of people that I know from around me, the same thing has happened. Like I know I got another buddy. He bought the Series S. He loved it so much that he jumped into the Series X. But what happened? His Series S, he gave it to someone else. So that player became another Xbox player. So I see what the big plan was. I saw it a long time ago, and I told Crazy, I said, even the xCloud, like if someone jump into the Xbox ecosystem and tries Game Pass and tries the games that are there and really enjoys it, they're hooked, and eventually they're gonna want to upgrade because you want that great experience. If you're a gamer and you become a gamer, you want a better experience. And if they give you a console at the price of the Series S, which can run Flight Simulator, which I still can't even believe it. Like, how could this little console run Flight Simulator? And there's PCs that my current PC can't run Flight Simulator that good.
Mine does, but if I want to get my feet warm, I'll just put Flight Simulator in there and I get my feet warm right away.
Yes.
It's a 2080, man.
I know Brian's machine just notes. That's about it.
Spreadsheets all day. Another thing on that note that you just mentioned, Sour, the fact that we can actually play Flight Simulator streaming too.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Like
it's insane.
I don't mean to get all giddy and fanboy and excited and stuff. Like I just am super excited about the fact that I could pull out my phone and I can play stuff like that on the go nowadays. Like that's something I wish I had had when I was a kid. And I remember having, the Game Gear and playing like Ren and Stimpy and stuff like that on the Game Gear. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. If you had given me at that age Flight Simulator or something like that to play, my mind would have been blown. Like, it's so cool how far we've come in tech. It's awesome.
Speaking on this, I'm not surprised. And I want to start off first to kind of, where did this concept of the Series S come from? And it comes from the Xbox One S all digital. Everybody, I remember when they released it, were like, what are they doing? Why did Microsoft need a One S with no disc drive and all digital? And this was them already testing the market to see how this would work. And I said this on Boom Show. I used to work at the Microsoft retail stores. So, in retail, like anything else, it's always about making sure we give, customers the right solution, and also helping customers that are always looking for a bargain on the holidays. And I can tell you this, there was always a sale on the 1X, and then they had the 1S and the 1S all digital. The minute that 1S digital went to $199, I literally had a person there who was like, yo, I want an X. And it was like, wait, is that is that 1S, $199? What's the difference? I told him, well, let me ask you a question. What are you playing on? My TV. I was like, is it 4K? He's like, nah, not really. He was like, I just play, NBA 2K, blah, blah, blah. I was like, do you mind not having discs? He's like, not at all. And we sold out of the 1S digital. And every time we had that console in, because of the price, people came in. People, even parents, now that I'm, fast forward, I'm a parent now. It's just the value to get your family in the door. Or someone who, I used to get customers that said, hey, you know what? I haven't played a console since the NES. Tell me why the Xbox is better than what they're offering on the PlayStation side. And this was when Game Pass started. I told them, hey, have you heard of Game Pass? And when I talked to them about how Game Pass, along with this $199 box, went in two and two together, they were like, this is great. I'm not a person that's going to be buying games every day. I just want to be able to come home, and if I can just jump in and have a library of games that I can just explore in and out, it's perfect. And I think another thing too, Sarah Bond just had a amazing interview this week. And she brought something up that was really interesting, that was really kind of like eye-opening, even though I already know, but it's eye-opening for people that read it, right? Xbox was always a platform. And the whole thing was, how do we get, Game Pass as his own platform to kind of come together and work as one? And if anything, the platform is Game Pass. And then within that platform, you can play it however you want, right? Silent Cypher just said it, right? He said, I can pull up my phone, I can pull up my tablet, and if I want to join, I can join and play. My cousin, who mainly plays on PlayStation because he's always played there and he has his friends, it was like, hey, I want to play State of Decay. I said, hey, you got a computer? He's like, yeah. Cool. Do you have a tablet? Sure. And I bought him a Game Pass. I gave him 3 months. He was like, yo, I can't believe I'm playing State of Decay on my Samsung Note. And all of a sudden, now, this holiday, he was able to secure an S. And he's like, yo, I'm set. I got my S. I got my Game Pass. And Game Pass is literally the vehicle to this. It provides so much value, but not even that. It's just reachable beyond everything. One of the key things is, Sarah Bond said, is when you make engaging content, people are going to come to there. So with Game Pass continuing to have games like Sea of Thieves, having games like Back 4 Blood, having Ages of Empire, having all these titles that are coming in, yeah, a lot of the times, we talk about and all of us discuss like, well, hey, I'm going to be playing it for one price versus on other platforms paying 70, whatever, if it comes to the other platform, 60, whatever it is. But the fact is that engaging content is coming inside this platform. And if I want to play it natively, I can get myself an S. And as somebody who plays PC games, yes, I love, on the back of me right here, my OLED. I love jumping in and seeing all the beautiful things. But you know what? Half of the time, I just told you, I played Dying Light in sub 30 FPS filmic mode on the Switch. Or I'm playing on my S over the holidays because, my office wasn't available to me, so I just jumped on the couch and I was playing on the S. And you know what I love? I love the fact that I can play at 60 FPS. And one of the things that people don't remember that they kind of brought over from the One X is that when you have a console like the Xbox One X, or if you had right now the Series S, if you have a display that maxes out at 1080p, but the game puts out more, or vice versa you can get super sampling, meaning you get a much sharper image on a 1080p image, which is another great thing about there. So you're getting great image. And I think that sometimes, and again, there's nothing wrong with how you want to play your games.
Yes.
But I think also we get hung up sometimes on the marketing of 4K for this, for that. And at the same time, when we're playing games and we're in the zone, nobody even cares.
No, nobody cares. Casuals
Like
don't
I was
care.
playing Halo from the PC I have a 3090. I came over on my Series X. I jumped in, then I went to the One S. I put it on 120 FPS mode. Why? Because my thing with Halo is that I want to make sure that when I'm punching the Banish in the face, I'm punching them as fast as I can and just having fun.
Well, one more thing. I
Not
wanted
like
to
Last
add.
of Us. You got all these other things, but and you definitely want to get, but it's one of the most amazing things that you can get and jump into a technology front for $300 to actually play. And I think that's the key thing is that Microsoft is not only with a $300 box. You have the Series X. You got cloud gaming. You have the web browser. It's everywhere. And when you can make your console available to everyone, it's the most easiest thing to jump into. And that's the thing, accessibility. And it kind of leads right now, which we're going to go into, we're going to talk a little bit about on the other side with Sony and their strategy, right? A report just came in, and this was by, I think it was Bloomberg. And again, this is not a confirmation, but this is a good article that they've heard, is that Sony is dealing with the PlayStation 5 shortage by making more PS4s. PlayStation 4 production to continue until the end of this year, saying that a Sony Group Corp will continue producing PlayStation 4 consoles throughout 2022 as it navigates the disruptions to the global supply chain that have limited output of the price of PlayStation 5. So we all know that when this generation started, we had a tale of two different visions. We had Microsoft, who was coming in with Game Pass, saying, "Hey, we have these two consoles, the Series S and Series X." But we're not, we are going to have some games that are cross-generation, like Halo and Forza, that'll still be able to play. We knew that a lot of people had a lot of opinions about that, because then on the other side, Sony came in, like always, that they wanted to sell their console. They were the leading they were the leading, in the market when it came, to the PS4, and said, "Hey, we believe in generations." And for Jim Ryan, meaning that we want to give you new experiences all the time. Fast forward, we started seeing games that came to the PS4. We started to see a lot of these things that were only PlayStation 5 kind of coming back to the PS4. And now we see this, that with them having issues with everything going on, that they're going to go back and maybe produce more PS4s. And again, it's not a bad thing. I mean, think about how many PS4s have sold. To kind of leave that money on the table was crazy. But I guess I wanted to know your thoughts and on the end of Sony's philosophy, and has it come to kind of bite them in the back because maybe Microsoft caught them off guard with their strategy? And I'm going to go over to, Crazy Lou, who looks like he's just chomping at the bits to kind of give his take on this.
I laugh because they bring up this news, guys. PlayStation has always done this, but it's like, whoa, this is new. This is not new. PlayStation 2, when it came out, they stopped making PlayStation 2 to 2013. I read today. PlayStation 3, they finished making PlayStation 3 till 2017 or 2018.
Didn't they have like a FIFA, I think 8 years later on the PS2 still? And I can't remember. I think
they always done this, and it's like it's not, they're trying to put something on the article, say because they don't have shortages. I mean, when Jim Ryan last year said he was going to quit doing PlayStation 4, I was like, you're making a big mistake right there. That's the big mistake you're making right now. You can't stop making that console. Why? Because it's a console that is still selling and making good numbers for you. you can't focus on just one. Just keep on making your console and do the other one, because I'm still there's going to be multi-platformers going to put their games on PS4 as the same as Xbox One, which they are doing it, of course. We're still watching it. So I'm glad to hear that he actually, if it's a rumor, if it's true, I hope it's true though. I'm glad that he's still making PS4s, because it's going to be a good sale mark for them. It's going to be good for them. So yeah, I mean, it's this is not new news. This is old news. I mean, I've always seen PlayStation always make consoles for to last long. I mean, I remember PlayStation 2 went up to 2013, PlayStation 3 2017. This one they said we're not going to do it, and now they're saying they're going to go back. Which okay, good decision. You just should have kept on doing it.
Do you think that instead they should maybe focus on trying to see if they can get maybe their discless version? I know that they're kind of the same. The only difference, of course, is that it's missing the disc, but it's basically the same console, and maybe they don't, as similar to this situation, they can't even produce those.
Yeah, they should make a PS4 digital. It'll be cheaper.
PS5 digital?
PS5.
No, I'm saying, do you think they should use whatever resources they can to make more PS5 digital consoles? Sorry.
Oh, PS5 digital consoles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they should. The thing is to get the user to go with it, because I don't know why the users are still using CDs. I mean, I'm a guy. I quit using CDs a long time ago. I don't know if you guys are like that, because I mean, I quit using that stuff.
You still have your you still have to take into account that there's parts of the world, even parts of the United States, that don't have good internet connection or are capped. So at least with physical media, it still allows those people again to until the infrastructure continues and hopefully data caps go away, for people to still play.
Oh yeah, that's true. Keep forgetting. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, they should just. I mean, strategy wise, I mean, they're doing a good job either way. They're gonna keep on. They're selling really fast too. Their consoles, you can't find them on shelves. It's hard to find. That's a true fact. If it's not from a scalper, it's hard to find in the store. But like for them to focus on one, they gotta keep on focusing on the CD one, because, like you said, people don't still don't have internet. So yeah, they should focus a lot more on the CD. Yeah, it's a better decision for them to keep focusing themselves on the CD. And yeah, like I said, if they bring back the PS4, which is good, because they gotta make money. Those guys gotta make. All of them gotta make their money.
Do you think that someone, if they can't play, Horizon, and they really want to play God of War, knowing that maybe down the road they can get a PS5, should invest in a PS4 at this point? Do you think it's still? I mean, they still have, the PS4 still has an amazing library, as you can see. Some of the games are being ported over to the PS5.
Of course, I mean, if you want to grab a PS5, you want to wait down where you can wait. But if you want to play it right away, then buy your PS4 and just start playing it. I mean, there's nothing bad to it. PS4's got a great library. It's got a bunch of great games. So go for it.
Dutch kind of put this in the chat. The difference between the PS5 digital production is that it's still being affected because of the fact, like we were just saying, that it's a different die size and CUs. Yeah. So, Sour what are your thoughts on this with PS4 making a comeback? Due to the fact that, of course, everything that's happening around the world and not being able to get some of these components to kind of get, and of course, scalpers. I guess my question to you is, do you feel that a lot of the marketing strategy that PlayStation kind of started with kind of has backfired? And in a way, I guess a little bit of the messaging is what kind of bothers people when it comes to this?
Well, I think a lot of this has to do with, I think they were caught off guard. If you look at it, PlayStation, they're just following their normal strategy. That's what they normally do. That's the same thing that happens with every console. The thing is that Xbox strategy right now, it's so user-friendly that it makes it seem like PlayStation or Sony, in this case, they're bad as a company. But it's not really that they're it's not really that they're being attacking their customers. It's just they're being who they usually are. For example, when they announced that the controllers won't be, you won't be able to use your PS5 controllers on the PS4. That's something that's it's normal. Like that always happened with every console. However, Xbox gave you the choice that you can use your new controller on your older console, which makes it very user friendly. And moves like this that Xbox has been making, that's kind of have been making Sony look a different way than you know. They
in the sense of, I know you said that, they've always done, I think in the PS4 era, they were under, Sean Layden, they were a little bit more different.
yeah.
They were, they were very, I'm not saying they're not now, but they were a little bit more customer focused, and their messaging was always on point. So no matter what happened, their messaging was always, communicating with the gamers. So do you feel that it's changed a little bit, and kind of a lot of the things that have changed with them from, from the previous generation to now is kind of coming back to kind of bite them in the rear?
Well, I think Jim Ryan is more of a business guy.
Yeah.
He's focused more on numbers. He's not focused directly on, like, he doesn't interact with the with us, the user, like Phil Spencer does. Like Phil Spencer goes to different interviews. He does.
Jim did have those cool Pulse headsets on, so he was trying to connect with us.
but yeah. And another thing is that, like I said, Xbox caught them off guard. And if you look right now, for example, they're having to reintroduce the PS4. That they're making PS4 again because they don't have the numbers of PS5 that they probably want, and they don't want to lose that fan base. On the other side, Xbox, they can start thinking about this generation, the new consoles, because they got xCloud, and they made this whole ecosystem where the users, they just want you on that ecosystem. And no matter what platform you use, you're gonna play their games, and it's basically, it's all connected. The way they did it, it seems like a very planned out console, a very planned out generation. And on the side of PlayStation, I think they kind of got cocky, kind of like what happened with them with the PlayStation 3 after they came out of that great, PlayStation 2 run. And I
remember I was looking for two jobs.
So yeah, so I think that's what happened with them. They just got completely caught off guard. They thought they had this other generation. They had it in the bag, and we're seeing that it's not like that. Xbox came to compete this generation.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear to the people that are watching, PlayStation's still the number one at the moment,
yes,
and they still have amazing content. My thing is, as someone who's looking at it from a perspective that likes the PlayStation platform, that's owned every PlayStation platform, is the fact that, you told us to invest in this console because you were moving ahead and you were going to give us things. And then after that kind of came back and said, hey, well, now, we want to do this. And there's nothing wrong. I think it's great. Why? Because those games like God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, that means that if it does great on PS4, we're going to see Aloy for years to come. Hopefully we get another God of War after this trilogy that's supposed to end with the North gods, and why not? The more people that get to play, the more money these games make. That means that these devs, get the opportunity to make these games. I mean, the big controversy has been Days Gone, and I love Days Gone. I know everyone has their own opinion about the game. I completely love Days Gone, and the way that game unfortunately got treated, it's a tale of two things, on both ends, and it didn't get its fair share. And I'm glad that, hopefully moving forward, we can, if more people can get into PlayStation 4s and experience for Horizon Forbidden West, and when they get their PS5, they can get the enhancements in God of War Ragnarok. That's awesome. That just means that PlayStation continues to be healthy and continues to be competitive. And at the end of the day, that means on the both ends, whether you own the console or not, or you're going to jump into one of them, we're getting all that content, being, rewarded. Silent Cypher, what are your thoughts on this?
So, I don't know. I would say it's definitely a smart thing for them to get PlayStation 4s out there if they have the option. I think it does go back to what Louis touched on. And this was something that Sony had been doing for years, right? So you look at the PS1, they went for about a 10-year lifespan. Same thing
Yeah.
with PS2. They did the same thing over and over. And granted, it didn't do a lot out here in the American market, but in the Japanese market, in other markets, they continued with that on and on and on. Like you'd jump on, you'd look at different games that released, and you'd see releases for PSP, you'd see stuff for PS3. You're just like, I didn't even realize they were still making games for that. And they did that in a really good way. I think there was a little bit of hubris going into this gen. I feel like there was a miscalculation that, the we believe in generations thing. It felt like it was too soon for them to pull the ripcord on that one and eject. You had so many people on PS4s to tell them, again, it goes to the hubris thing. I feel like without them saying it, it was essentially the same game of being like, hey, just like with the PS3, you want to get this? Okay, that's great. Go get a second job. It was kind of that same slap in the face of, oh, you want our games? Okay, well, you're going to have to upgrade, and you're going to like it. And so I'm happy. I'm conflicted, but I am happy that they are making more PS4s. I think it takes a lot to have to go back to the drawing board, lick your wounds. If this is true, lick your wounds and admit it, and then start making more PS4s when the PS5s can't be mass produced.
And this was the smart thing that Phil Spencer did of making a console that, number one, comes at a good price point.
100%.
I mean, because
Yes.
it's planning ahead, and
Yes.
I think he said it. That's he's not an expert in the supply chain, but he's had to learn how to manage a supply chain because it's a game of the supply chain basically, to try to get stuff. I mean, I'm hoping I get my Steam Deck this month, so you know about that. So we'll see.
I'm hoping you get it as well. But I
already got a list of those games I'm gonna be on. 500 hours.
Just to touch base on it again, I think that's the biggest thing for me is just, I feel it was definitely a miscalculation to just say, oh yeah, we're going right to PS5. Sorry, PS4 guys, you're not going to get anything. And we've seen a slow rollout for the last little bit of, hey, actually, this game's also going to be on PS4. And then, we've seen more and more that have come to being cross-gen. And so to see that potentially this is a thing where they're making more PS4s, it was a misstep to cut it off when they did.
Yeah.
Honestly, you look at every generation that they did, they should have followed with the same trajectory. So I feel like the hubris was there of just, well, you're going to upgrade because we told you to. And now they're realizing, again, just like what we were talking about earlier, this was not something we could have planned for. The pandemic, except for Kojima, no one else knew that this was going to happen to the extent it did. And so I think even though I'm not always a big Sony fan on some of the decisions that have been made for the past couple decades, I do feel like at least there was a little bit of understanding that maybe they had misstepped. And it takes a lot to admit something like that and actually revert course.
Can I ask you a quick question, Brian?
I mean, in the words of Don Matrick, we have a console for you, the PS4.
Yeah, because that was something I was gonna say. I was gonna say that every time something comes up from their side nowadays, I keep falling back to 2013. I'm starting to get that feeling.
So look,
what happened?
Sorry, I don't want to keep droning on and on, but you look at this, and this happens every time, right? So you go from how PS3 was, where they were telling you to go get a different job, get a second job, whereas 360 was like, hey, come on over. We've got an affordable system that doesn't have a hard drive, and we have one that's a premium with a hard drive. You are more than welcome to join in here, and we've got all the third parties. To them, Sony, to Microsoft getting that hubris and flipping it the other way, and suddenly they were the guys that were telling you to go get another job and get more interested in movies and stuff like that. And it's like every time that it happens, that company takes a beating in the market and also just in the media. And so then they revert. And you're starting to see Microsoft do the same thing, is they realized that the trajectory they were on and the leadership they were with was not the right one at the time.
They
were ahead of their time.
What was different about this also is the fact that both companies are working for our attention, our engagement. So unlike, the Xbox One era where it was always Xbox trailing and not really, kind of providing any type of competition, or vice versa. Now we have two companies that are literally working hand over fist and kind of at a good playing field, and we're on both ends. We're winning. Whether you're a PlayStation player, whether you're one that has both consoles, you're winning all the way every day, and that's what we want. Because what happens is that Microsoft doesn't get complacent. Sony definitely doesn't get complacent. Nintendo does their own thing. But
Sony's off in its own world doing its thing.
Nintendo's off in its own castle, probably making their own NFT Mario game next,
Yes.
You can only buy it till, February 2nd.
Let me ask you this quick question before we jump any other topic. Do you think, remembering the whole, this is how we share games, which was a blow, right, from PlayStation. Do you think the timing of We Believe in Generation, which was right after Xbox said they were going to support Xbox One for the next, 1 to 2 years? Do you think the timing of it had to do with maybe they thought like, hey, maybe if we say this could be a blow to them and maybe we can...
So the thing is that, if you follow a lot of the, WWE style history of console wars and E3s, which we all love, right? Sony's always been reactive. They've always gone second when you look at what they present, and they have an amazing show. Sony has amazing show, except for the one where they brought people different places and everything. But they always have amazing shows. I remember the God of War one was amazing. So with the Xbox One, a lot of the things, if you look at, was just communication, similar to what we're talking about in this whole topic that we're going to move on from. And it just so happened that when Sony saw the reaction of what Microsoft's vision was communicated poorly, they were able to pivot. Fast forward to now, Microsoft's been going through its own beat, Game Pass, everything, right? A clear vision of where they want to go. This is where we want. We want to eliminate everything that was of the Xbox One. And this is our clear vision. This is what it's going to be. Because if you look at both systems, everything the Xbox One is, the PlayStation 4 is, and vice versa, the Xbox One. Everything's here, hands, right?
Yep.
And what happened was, with that vision of never, because again, Microsoft made Game Pass the platform. It was never going to leave people behind because we understood, and going into a global pandemic, that helped. Why? Because it's going to be a long generation. And what happened was Sony, of course, who always want to push cutting edge, and they redesigned their controller. They wanted to bank on the fact that they said, okay, cool, Microsoft's trying to come and play next gen. We're going to let people know that you don't have to worry about playing games that are going to be playable on the current gen. We want to give you an experience that's going to be current next gen. Pandemic happened, and guess what? Games got delayed, all this thing. So unfortunately, that vision backfired. And again, it comes to a game of bad communication. And they had no choice. I mean, you would be crazy to not say, hey, I'm going to make Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and all these other games available on a platform that was already established. Like, you would have to be nuts. Like, you would have to be somebody who hates money and wants to literally just trash a company.
again, what was it? It was like 120 million systems they ended up selling total for the last gen. Yeah, you would be it would be financial suicide.
Yeah,
Not not to attack
Nintendo,
that.
as much as I want the next iteration of the Switch. They're smart. They made the OLED, and yes, the OLED is not for everyone. But in the current state of the world, if I have parts that are already paid for, I'll make iterations. But what am I really going to sell? And especially with Nintendo, they're still discovering the internet. There's not much in the sense of wiggle room, but the Switch is still outselling these consoles, even as an old machine that, because of the content. So, it's going to be a long generation, and it's just going to be a fun one because, PlayStation is retooling, and they're getting their studios, they're getting their stuff. We might even hear about Spartacus. I don't know if you saw today. I think VentureBeat reported that they were pulling some of the PSN cards. Is that a sign that Spartacus is on the way? Their so-called service that's going to probably merge, PS Now and PS Plus. Who knows? But we definitely are going to see a lot of stuff that we haven't heard of. January has been full, but we haven't really got the crux of a lot of the, like headline news to an extent.
It's early. There's a lot of time to go.
So to kind of move past this, I guess the next thing we can talk about, and I guess it does a little bit with this, is Game Pass in 2022. So first, I want to know one first-party game that you are excited for coming. It may not be confirmed, but was slated for 2022, and one third-party game out of that Game Pass list that you're anticipating. And then the second part of this question is going to be, do you think Game Pass will have a tremendous year in 2022? And if it continues to, go on that trajectory of continuing to be, very, bang, bang, all these great content, do you think eventually that 2-year exclusivity that Sony's doing is going to eventually catch up with Sony? So let me start with Crazy Luke, because he looks like he's just like ready. He got that look again. He's like, I'm ready to talk about Mafia. I'm ready to talk about everything. Crazy Luke.
No.
So tell me, first party, third party?
Oh,
From
first
Game Pass
party, Starfield, all the way. You start
Okay.
with Starfield right there. And third party, A Plague's Tale. I
Okay.
had that written down because, I played the first Plague's Tale because you guys were telling me, play that game, play that game, play that game. And I sat through and beat it in one weekend. I am in love with that game. That franchise of a game is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome.
That's a game I think my wife will like, but I gotta get her there to that level where she can actually play it.
What, Plague
but-
Tale?
Yeah,
Plague's Tale, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
She
telling
likes
you,
those
get her to
type of
play
things,
Dark
like-
Souls.
Yeah.
Why don't you get her to play actually Hellblade? I think Hellblade will be a good game to start her with.
Nah, Mortal Kombat.
You think that won't be too hard for her, or?
No, Hellblade is more narrative driven. The combat, it's not as
Yeah, true.
I would say, not that I'm saying engaging, but it's not in the sense of it's more story based, and the combat's there to kind of break up, the in between and everything with the story. But I would get on Hellblade and then move over to Dark Souls.
She might get lost with the puzzles, but
But
yeah,
is Game Pass gonna have a great year? Yeah, it will. It's been having a great. Last year it had an amazing year. I'm not gonna lie to you. Game Pass had an amazing year last year. It was great because when people were worried that Xbox was like, oh my God, there's not gonna be any exclusives in the first months, right? You got right there. You had Outriders. You had MLB The Show. You had what was another game that came out that was a third party? You had a couple third parties coming out there. Oh, Left 4 Dead.
MLB The Show.
Yeah, MLB The Show. I mentioned that. You got all those games, and they came out during the months where Xbox did not have exclusives, and then they started just throwing their exclusives. You had.
Would you say that? It's a similar strategy. Remember the PS4 at first when we first had the PS4. We had a lot of good third-party games, and then eventually we got those back-to-back amazing games from PS4, like Persona, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Last of Us 2.
That right now they're both in the same spot. Right now they're throwing what they can to throw out there, first parties, and they're trying to lock on third parties. And that's the truth, though. Right now they're trying to get the first parties out quick because they're right now having good quality first party games. Both of them are. I mean, like I said, last year Xbox had an amazing year. Look at Psychonauts. Psychonauts got a good score. You got Deathloop, which got a good score too, and it's from a studio from Xbox. You got all those games that got good
Age of
scores.
Empire 4.
Age of Empires 4, yeah. So they're gonna try and bring out the most they can, and PlayStation's gonna do the same thing too. They're gonna try and bring out the most they can, which is a good thing though. But is Game Pass gonna have a good year? Yes. Is PlayStation gonna have a good year? Yes. But still, it's still too early to know what else is gonna come out in Game Pass. And what else is gonna come out on PlayStation, because for now, we only have like 5 or 6 games that are mentioned on PlayStation. And on Xbox we have 5 or 6 games too. So we don't know what else is gonna pop up around the year, which
And on the PlayStation side, we have confirmed, in a sense, what is it? You have Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo, and supposedly God of War. We haven't got a date, but God of War.
Yeah. Nope. And Forspoken.
I'm gonna get to you, Silence. I know what you're saying, no, but
Forspoken.
Oh yeah, Forspoken. Yes. So speaking on Forspoken, what do you think on these 2 years exclusivity deals? Do you think that Sony's doing this because at the moment they don't have something to combat Game Pass? And do you think eventually this will backfire on Sony if Game Pass continues to run away with success and get these crazy, third-party deals in the service?
No, I'll be honest with you. They've always done this. They always got their tap exclusives and stuff like that. So it's been a thing. I remember when Hellblade came out. I don't know how long was it in PlayStation, but it was a while. But at first, it started as an exclusive in PlayStation. Also, another one, it was Nier Automata. Remember that Nier Automata was
Nier Automata
back in.
Yeah, that was an amazing game.
Yeah, that game came out on PlayStation first, and then I think it was a year or two later it came out on Xbox. So yeah, they've always been doing these deals on very good games, which is good for them. I mean, it's a way to get people to buy them.
I guess to kind of preface the question is, I've always believed that if you have a good product, right, you don't have to do certain things to keep away from the competition. Because if you have a great service, a great platform, a great offering, that's what I look at when Phil Spencer said he no longer wants to make these deals where he takes away, because he doesn't need to. Why? Because they have Game Pass, which is going to tell you for $15 a month, you can get it and play it on your Xbox consoles or anywhere you want to, right? In addition to that, we have a Xbox platform where you do all these, where you can get upgrades, at no cost to you.
I have a theory on that. Which is something that I said. I think I told Sourblue once, and it's the way for them to say, "Yeah, I got time exclusive on the game." Like for example, Microsoft puts the third-party games and they want in Game Pass. That's for me. That's telling me they're getting a time exclusive on their Game Pass. On PlayStation, you gotta pay $60 or $70, but in Xbox, you got it in Game Pass. It's like an exclusive thing. You know what I mean? Like a time exclusive. So I have like a theory, like that's the way of saying this is our time exclusive here on Game Pass. We got this game exclusive on Game Pass.
Yeah, but what I mean, like, so for instance, remember when Outriders came out?
Yeah.
Outriders was on the service. You can still buy it. So that means the developer, Square, the publisher, and the developers, whatever, were making money still because it was still available on PlayStation. And I think my thing is, do you believe that philosophy will eventually outlast what Sony's doing with, hey, let me go and take Final Fantasy, let me go take this away. Again, it's business, right? And at the moment, they don't have something like Game Pass. But do you think eventually, will it make sense where people are like, well, okay. I mean, I know that people are still going to play their Final Fantasies and everything like that.
Yeah. But like look at because we're gonna get Project Spartacus right now coming out. Maybe that would change also that strategy, because I'm gonna tell you something though. Having 2 years of game over there, as if I was a budget gamer, like I say, I'm gonna be a budget gamer. Okay, let it be over there for 2 years, because when it comes out for Xbox, it's gonna be cheaper, and I'm gonna buy it. As in a way, so Project Spartacus could if they could.
I'm gonna call you that you're poor. You don't like. How dare you want to save money?
Yeah, I know where you're going. Yeah. But the thing is though, when you look at that, if Project Spartacus just starts doing that same thing, which is it's gonna be pretty good. I mean, I remember since Matt is on here, he posted that on Twitter. he said, I would like to see what kind of deals they would get on Project Spartacus if they're going to do the same thing as they did with
It's going to be a war.
Escape. It's going to be a war, yeah. It's going to be a competition war, which is good because it's going to be something for us good. It's going to be a good thing because it's going to give us I don't know. It's going
I can't wait for Spartacus to fund NAC 4.
Yeah.
Or actually, what, 3? Is it on 3 already?
I don't know. But I get you though. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a pretty good competition. I want to see what's going to happen. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be an amazing year for Game Pass again. That's all I know because, like I said, we're starting the year right now. We still don't know what's going to come out. But like all of a sudden, we were sitting down here. We were like, "Oh, it's January. We got nothing to play." And last week, boom, you have Rainbow Six Extraction Day 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go over here to Silent Cypher because he gave me that crazy look like I'm ready. And he was like, I'm ready. You know?
Yeah. So a couple things came to mind with this situation. Something that I can't help but thinking, and again, I apologize. Sometimes I go to the pessimistic side, but I wonder how long, with all these different deals that Sony's doing as far as the 2-year exclusivity, stuff like that, I wonder how long it is before we see Square Enix in the same position as Kojima was. Because it's like, okay, we're going to dump this money into it. We're going to support you. We're going to have you do all these things. But then, like, when's your return? And I wonder if over time, especially because we know that Sony is not necessarily in the most amazing financial spot as far as buying all the time. They can't go out and make some of the moves that maybe Xbox or Amazon or Google or some of the others can do. And so I wonder if over time this is going to bite them in the fact that they're just going to see like, hey, where's our return on investment? Because we need stuff in our system so we can continue to make to show that we actually have a financially viable service.
And I think you brought a good point, Silent Cypher. What happens when Game Pass? And again, this was this topic was, if Game Pass continues to succeed, continues to show developers that their games are making a lot of money. Mm-hmm. At what point does a Square or maybe another company that usually says, "Hey, you know what? We're going to sell you to PlayStation exclusivity at this price," says, "You know what? If you want the next game, whatever game comes out, the Sour Blow gaming game, and on Game Pass, I can make more, and I can still double dip on another platform. Will it make sense to eventually say, hey, should I come over to Spartacus? Should I come over to maybe Sony? Say Spartacus is not even there yet. I think you brought up a good point.
I think you're speaking my language on that because, it is the thing of, okay, do some of these guys that are in Game Pass right now, do they look at Sony and say, okay, well, they are still the market leader. They are doing these things. That's where we see something like Square Enix making the moves they are. Certain things we see over on Xbox, but the treasures, the ones that they value the most on that side, that they keep real dear and close to themselves. I wonder if over time, if the market continues to change as it does, and you see potentially Microsoft outpace them, potentially, what if maybe we start seeing Final Fantasy coming to Xbox Game Pass instead of Sony? Potentially, I mean, we already know that Square Enix is very finicky about the financial side and about how many, copies are sold and stuff like that. We saw how they were about Tomb Raider. We saw how they were about Deus Ex. And I wonder if eventually they get to the point where they're like, well, that's great that you're doing this, but what have you actually done for me recently? And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Square Enix looked at it and saw, well, Game Pass is on the rise. They're at potentially 25 to 30 million subscribers, which isn't official. It's only speculated at this point, but they've got to be somewhere in that
insider.
They've got to be somewhere in that ballpark, and it just makes me wonder if potentially Like, yes, Sony's the market leader, but Microsoft's got Game Pass, and they've got a system right now. Now, yes, Spartacus is coming out, but Spartacus is a ways behind versus what Microsoft has at the moment because they've not been in the market. They don't have the foundation. At this point.
Remember, they started with Gaikai, so in a sense, it's not that something like Game Pass hasn't been there.
Bring
but,
Gaikai to this.
No. I'm not saying that Gaikai is successful, but what I'm trying to say is that think of it like Apple, right?
Yeah.
Computers existed, phones existed, the Zune existed, but what Apple has done is that they've taken ideas that already existed and they've implemented in a way that worked.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say is Gaikai, and you know, we started with streaming, remote play, but what happened is Microsoft came in and found a way to then say, hey, how can I make this more than what Gaikai was, and kind of sort of guess be more in the sense of what it is now versus, you know, nobody at the moment as much because of the way it was implemented, and maybe it was ahead of its time, and then Sony didn't really put as much emphasis when it comes to that. So, you know, you're right. Spartacus is starting from scratch, but who knows? I mean, you know, we don't know the tiers, but you know, there is things that they can do to make it something that can compete. I mean, for anime, you know, people that love anime, what did they take? You know, they own Crunchyroll now in Funimation, correct?
Right. Yes.
They can maybe do an anime tier, you know, a Super Saiyan Goku tier where you pay, you know, buttloads of money and you get your anime, you get your games, you know, all that stuff, all that good stuff. You know, you get a picture of Jim Ryan saying "Thank you for my yacht," you know, all that good thing.
Yeah. No, I think one way or another, no matter what happens with it, it's going to be an interesting 4 or 5 years coming up because both of them, again, they're going to be playing in the same area. The competition that's going on right now is getting hot. It's getting intense.
Yes.
And we see those tracks being laid, right? And to see them jumping into streaming as well, you see both of them pitting it together. Again, it's the same thing we've said over and over and over again over time is competition is good for the consumer.
Yep.
And we're going to see that. Like whether you're on the Sony side or the Xbox side, you're going to see benefits from this situation.
You're going to be eating good.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know,
good. We're not hungry.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's what it comes down to. I mean, yeah, that's what you want at the end of the day, to make sure you're getting most out of it. So, you know, Sour Blow, what's up, man? What do you think about all this?
Yes. Well, I see that how all three panel members kind of have talked about. If we look into the future, we know that gaming is going to become more of a streaming service. Everything is going to streaming services. It started with music, movie, series, and gaming. We see it's heading that way, definitely. And if Project Spartacus doesn't come in a way that it can compete with Game Pass, definitely Game Pass is going to become the market leader in gaming. And if this happens and they continue to make these deals where they bring games day one and they continue to succeed, not only having a high player base, but also they're actually selling more than they usually sell in the Xbox platform, which this is like developers are going to be looking at this and saying like, why would I make a deal with Sony when for exclusivity for X amount of years when I could just put it day one on Game Pass and I could still sell it on the PlayStation platform? Because by the time the exclusivity deal is done, that game doesn't have that same hype and it won't sell the same when it comes to the Xbox platform or when it comes to PC. But if you put it day one everywhere and it's on Game Pass, you got the player base, you got the money from Game Pass, but you also could sell it on all the platform. And I think this is good for everyone. It's good for the users, it's good for Microsoft, and it's good for the developers. I think it doesn't get better than that for for Microsoft.
MLB says hi.
Who? I'm sorry.
Who?
MLB says hi.
Oh,
Oh, I was like, is somebody named MLB in the chat? Oh,
yeah.
hello,
I was looking
MLB.
at the chat. I was
Yeah.
like, who's
I
that?
thought-
MLB
I
says
thought-
hi, right?
When I heard that, I thought you meant Mel B from the Spice Girls. Like, what?
No,
Why does
yes.
Mel B from the
Yeah.
Spice Girls is high?
So,
Spice Girls stop by and just say hi real quick
Yeah,
to
that would
us
be pretty
randos.
cool, though.
Saulo, what is your most anticipated game, first party wise, in 2022, and third party game?
Well, I kind of already said it during the show, which was Starfield and Stalker 2. But I'm going to mention two other ones real quick. One game that I'm really waiting for is Tunic. Can't wait for Tunic. It's kind of like a game, kind of like Death Door. I actually saw that one first, and I played the demo first. And that's why I jumped into Death Door. And the other game will be...
My friend Peppa the Pig,
No. What was the other game?
Barbie's Horse Adventure.
Wow, I forgot. Well, there's a lot of other games. I didn't want to mention this one, but I can't get the one I wanted to mention. But Atomic Heart is another one. I know.
Oh, you bastard!
I
You
know
bastard.
you wanted to say it, but I was thinking of the one I wanted to say. But yeah.
Why you gotta go steal my stuff? No, but for me, I keep saying it. It's gonna be Redfall. I love vampires, and like I said before, and I keep beating this drum. I've watched the trailer over and over, and in my head, I've made my own version of Redfall. And I hope it's one where we get a great narrative, where we're just hunting down these legendary vampires, and at the same time, we're taking these like Nosferatu-looking kind of deformed vampires, kind of like a system, where you have the low-class vampires, then you have the ones that look like like they came out of Twilight, and then you have the ones that are just crazy and want to kill you. So hopefully, Redfall, I'm excited. Arcane has never let me down. Deathloop was amazing. Prey is amazing. Dishonored. So I'm definitely, excited to what they have. And since Sourablow, is a thief, like Sea of Thieves, he took my Atomic Heart. I'm gonna say that I'm excited also for Replaced.
Oh, yeah,
Replaced is that game that looks like The Last Night. And when I saw that trailer and that soundtrack, oh man, I just cannot wait to dive into Replace and just go, oh man, I'm just excited. And I'm not going to get myself hyped because then I might be disappointed. But I think those are my two games that are highly anticipated coming to Xbox this year. Hopefully Redfall makes it. They say summer, but we don't know yet. But besides that, it'll be that. If not, I still have Stalker on December 8th, and then I have Atomic Heart coming down the road. And I guess to quickly go over our final topic, shout out to Forza Horizon 5 as it passed 15 million players.
Yeah, you did. 15 million. That's amazing, though.
Yes.
And that's due to Silent Cypher's burner accounts. He must have 12 million burner accounts.
Yep.
What do you guys think about this, Silent Cypher? Since you're the Forza expert, what do you think about this accolade here of 15 million players?
So real quick, I gotta apologize because I went on autopilot on that last conversation. I didn't say anything about the top two, the ones I'm excited for, and I'll just throw them in real fast.
Yeah,
you're good. I just ignored it. That being said, dude, Dead Space remake.
Is that coming this year?
But it's supposedly.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And Saints Row.
Oh,
okay.
That's
I didn't know you could mention third parties, but okay.
No, man, you cheated. You took 4.
First party.
I said first party and third party.
Okay, well then Starfield.
No, I'll give it to you. Silent Cypher, because this guy Sourablow cheated.
You guys already took Starfield.
Because he took Atomic Heart, I'm going to give you that one.
Okay. Anyways, no. Forza Horizon 5. My goodness. I obviously, they're not going to hear this from me because we're a small, growing podcast, but Playground Games, congrats. Holy cow, that is a massive event. And I am so excited because it is well-deserved. the servers were rough for the first little bit, and it's starting to get better. But my God, if that game doesn't just continue to draw me in on a regular basis, and it doesn't matter if I'm actually doing anything or I have a specific goal, it's become my go-to game when I'm done with work. Go on there, just cruise around the map for a while because it's just calming, it's peaceful, it's fun. And it is very much that every time when I jump in with a group of you guys or my brother or whoever, it's just pure unadulterated fun.
Yeah.
So that's all I got.
Shout out to your burner accounts. Shout out to Brian's burner accounts. And I'm joking. I'm joking. No shout out to Tower Blow's driving. Crazy Lou, what's up, man? What do you think about this?
Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy that the numbers keep on growing. I mean, they deserved it. They actually made a really good racing game. I mean, every time when Brian is on, we gotta jump over there and play with him. If he wants to play, because that's all he plays is Forza. He doesn't play anything else.
He has Game Pass, but all he sees is Forza on his screen.
Forza, yep. That's
Forza.
There's always room for family in the party. I will gladly bring you.
Yeah. So I hop on in there, race with him. Yeah. But I'm glad though, and I'm glad that their numbers keep on growing because again, the better they do, the next time they'll do a lot better than what they did before, which is the truth though. So yeah, keep on growing, Forza. Congrats to you guys, really. Congrats, Playground Games, really. Great job.
And now we head over to the worst driver in Forza.
Oh dear Lord.
Oh my God, the worst driver tar as well. We go to Sour Blow.
No, I mean it's well deserved. What they did with this game, it's completely amazing, and congrats, man! Kudos to them.
Yeah, kudos to them. I can't even wait for Motorsport 8 and what they're gonna do. But huge thing, and I'm glad that you continue to engage and continue to grow because it's an amazing game. And that's it. That's all the topics. Wow. I can't believe it's almost 2 hours. I'm like, wow. I promised that we wouldn't get to the Snyder Cut, and we're trying to keep that. So we definitely want to respect your time, and I don't think people can fathom Sour Blow's bad driving stories, or.
Oh
so.
dear Lord! I mean, that guy, any rock that's on Forza Horizon, any tree, Sour Blow hit it. Yeah, trust me. There's no rock or tree hit.
We're gonna put him on Mario Kart.
You all know I control the stream,
he
right?
He doesn't hit all the rocks, okay? He just hits some of the rocks, okay?
You all know I control the stream, right? I can.
I got your back, Sour. I got your back.
Let's start with some outros. Let's start with some outros. Before we go, I want to say thank you to everyone who joined us.
Yes.
This is our very first episode. We hope we were entertaining, and we hope we continue to do this. Please, hit that like and subscribe. Give us some feedback. We want to make sure that we continue to grow so we can bring the content that you like. And just as people that are doing this for the first time, continue to grow and be better. So let's start with over here with Crazy Lou. Where can we find you? Give us, market yourself, man.
It's easy. I'm super easy. You can find me on Twitter where every single day, guys, every single day I wake up saying good morning to everybody. On Crazy Louie Gaming, that's my Twitter. And also on the channel right now that we are all on, which is XBI on Crazy Louie Gaming too on YouTube. And last but not least, on Tuesdays, another podcast that me and my brother Sour Blow do, which is Gaming Lobby. It's on Sour Blow Gaming. So yeah, guys, go over there and subscribe.
Yeah, and Victor Click was saying for Sour Blow to mute us. No, he ain't gonna mute us because he knows, why when it's the truth, right?
Yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Sour Blow, where can they find you? Tell us.
Yes, well, as Crazy said, you can find me in Sour Blow Gaming. That's my YouTube channel. And every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a Spanish podcast called The Gaming Lobby, where we talk about different news, and it's a Spanish-speaking podcast. And you can also follow me on Twitter as SourBlow18. You can also Xbox. That's my gamer tag, SourBlow18. And yeah, that's basically me. Just follow me and
if you see his
That's all.
Drivatar, just walk away.
just
Walk away.
run away.
Yes.
Don't walk.
And if
run.
you're like Silent Cypher, you can still come to the gaming lobby. Use Google Translate and I'll help you.
And if you see him play really good in Halo, that's his son.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
play
that's
with his son.
100%.
Yeah.
All
we
it is
got him.
is Sour Blow goes on the camera because, of course,
Yeah.
his son knows that we're scrubs, so he doesn't want to talk to us.
Yeah.
But it's usually, when we're looking at the kill count, we're like, whoa, that's not Sour
Yeah.
Blow. That's his kid. He's in the background just taking them, taking us to victory.
He does the little brother, little sister trick. You know what the little brother, little sister trick is? You don't know
Give
that
him
trick
the-
though?
No, I don't.
Give him he gets the controller without batteries and gives the good one to his son so he can play. You know how you
Yeah.
get
Oh, yeah, the feature. Yeah, well, you could,
Yeah.
yes.
No. You know how they give your little sister. You're
He's
like,
talking
yo, you want to
about-
play here? No batteries for you here, but here's the controller. so
You
she
know
can
how you
let you
used to
play.
like
That's what he does.
give
That's what
them
he
the
does.
one without being connected to the actual
Yeah.
console. But in
So-
this
Exactly,
case,
yeah.
with the batteries.
That's what he does.
we-
Yeah.
we can have a future episode called The Roasting of Sour Blow. But hey, Silent Cypher, let us know where we can find you hanging out besides Forza Horizon 5.
Okay, so one thing real quick, right before I say that, my apologies, but you just mentioned the controller trick. Microsoft made it easier for me because they added the Copilot.
Yes,
Right.
that's the feature, Copilot.
So my son was too young to really be very good at games early on. And so I totally did the Copilot trick with him. So that way I could sit there and still play games and he could be like, oh yeah, I'm right in there with you. He's much better now, and he's better than me at Halo, just like you, Sour. But anyways, yes, you can find
Guys,
me on
don't believe them.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, you can find me on Xbox, on Twitter. I'm just at Silent Cypher or Silent Cypher on Xbox. And yeah, if you ever want to play any Forza, if you want to play any games or just talk games, hit me up. I'm around. I'm not always around for long, but I am more than happy to play some games with people.
And last but not least, my name is Mr. Joanna Dark, and you can find me on Twitter at big_N_boss. Usually see me there posting pictures or making fun of Crazy Lou. Just always trolling everyone. And I'm also on Tuesdays. You can find me on the Xbox Factor podcast with Double Barrel Gaming with Mr. Boom. I'm on one of the panel members there now that I just joined. And I'm here on Wednesdays on XBI. Next week, I can't wait for Crazy Lou, who's our actual host, to kind of kick off the show.
Yes,
So
I
that's
can't
gonna
wait.
be exciting.
Yes, guys.
So don't worry, guys. You'll definitely have a much more livelier show with Crazy on there as the host. And then you can catch on YouTube if you go to the Nickel Gaming Show. That's a show I do with my good friend Albert and as well Jasmine. We go on there. We record on Thursdays and then we post it on Fridays. It's just three of us Xbox employees talking about Xbox and why we love the platform. So that's where you can find me. And again, thank you very much to everyone and have a wonderful night, day, wherever you're at in the world, afternoon. Bye.
Cool. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the XBI Podcast. Please make sure to like and subscribe on the way out. We'll see you next time.